are welcome to MVTI Learning Channel. My name is Felix Kwame Metz. I am your masonry instructor taking you through drawing. The topic that we want to handle is construction of an arch. And this construction will help us to set out arches when we want to bridge an opening. You can use concrete to bridge an opening. You can also use bricks to bridge an opening. Our focus will be on segmental arch. Where you want to bridge an opening, you have to set it out using construction method. And at the end, your carpenter can form a formwork for you, or you can use your bricks, which we call voussoirs, to lay your arch. We will be guided by these steps for the construction of segmental arch. 1. To set out a segmental arch, you draw your line AB. An example, we can take our line AB to be 150 millimeters. Our line AB, as our first step, is 150 millimeters. That's step 1. You draw your line 150 millimeters. Step 2. After you've drawn your line AB to be 150 millimeters, you bisect line AB. So to bisect a line means we divide that line into 2 equal parts. So to bisect a line, you step on point A, then you open your compass more than half of your line AB. Then you strike an arc. The same thing is done, you move to line B, okay? Then you strike another arc. Where the 2 arcs meet will take us to point 3. So point 3, we draw a perpendicular bisector to go through our line AB, which is our horizontal line. So I draw on. Where the 2 arcs meet, we draw a line to go through line AB, then that will give us our perpendicular line. Step 4, you label your perpendicular bisector C, then you mark the height of your lintel. Then you mark your 150 divided by 10 scale to be 15. So we mark the height of our, which is 15 millimeters, to be the rise of our arch construction. That's step 4. Now, we'll label our rise as D. So, we'll label our rise as D, 15 millimeters. Step 5. We connect points A and D with a line. At this point, point 6, we bisect line AD. And as I said, to bisect a line means to divide a line equally into 2 parts. So I step on A, point A, then I strike an arc. I do the same thing at the bottom. Then I step on D and also strike an arc. Yeah, so at this stage, we are at the process of bisecting our line AD. And where the two bisectors meet, you draw a line through the bisectors to meet the perpendicular line C. So let's go. We draw a line through the bisectors to meet our perpendicular bisector C. At this stage, where our bisector meets our perpendicular bisector, we can label it SP, where SP means striking point. At the point SP, we want to introduce our arc. You step on SP, you open your arc to A, and this must also meet at B. The first arc that we have introduced is called the introduce of our arch construction. At this point, we extend our lines to have the full length of our break that we call the voussoirs. So we extend with SP, we extend our points, and this point should be equal to the full length of a break. The full length of a break is 215 millimeters. 215 millimeters. So on your rule, you mark your 215 millimeters, then you mark it on your line extension. On your line extension, you have your 215 millimeters. And as I said, this 250 millimeters is the full length of your break, or our break. With the same striking point, you will be able to draw your external curve, referred to as extradus. Our internal curve is called the intrados, and our external curve is also called the extradus. So I draw. With SP, with your compass on SP, you open to one end of your arc, then you strike another arc to give us our extradus. If you are drawing construction lines, you leave it. But for the purposes of the chalk or the whiteboard marker, this is how we get our extradus. We can now plot our segmental arch to complete our construction. The thickness of our break for our voussoir is 65 millimeters. 65 millimeters. So this 65 millimeters will be marked on the extradus of our arch. So you take your compass, then you mark your 65, 65, 65, We can start from left and also continue from the right. Then the middle one can be less than 65 or more than 65. The reason is that the last one is always the one to be placed, and this one goes to lock our arch for us. So with the same dimension, we can now step on the other side and mark the thickness of our bourgeois. Then with the SP, which is our striking point, we'll still mark the dotted line is just referring us to where we have taken our lines from. So with the same dimension at the top, we connect to our striking point. This continues until we reach the peak. So as we mark, our reference point is always the striking point labeled as SP. So so I hope you can just continue your marking until you reach the end. In summary, if you want to breach an opening using an arc, as technicians, you have to know how to set out. And one of the methods is by the use of segmental arches. Thank you very much. Thank you. So with your striking point labeled as SP and your marking of your individual bourgeois using 65 millimeters, you continue until you reach the end. Can you try that on your own until you reach the end? In summary, we've learned how to demonstrate the construction and then the setting out by the following stages to arrive at an accurate method of setting out a segmental arch. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. Thank you very much.